know that it feels right. Time to put up a fight, honey. Got nothing left to lose, so let's start right now. Everybody want a piece of you. Gotta give them what they want, it's true. You're symphonic, yeah, so iconic. If you didn't know before, now you know. Now you know. Take a big step away from who you were. Flashing that smile and the whole world's a blur. Dancing in the limelight, oh you're on in the night. Look at
Yo, what up? Sorry. I always wanted to start a show off like that. Positively Powerful on a Wednesday with my good pal, Stacey Steinmiller. What's up, Stacey? How's it going? Oh, man. Finding it difficult to achieve the balance. Right? It takes me back to the Karate Kid, right? What did in the Karate Kid, Daniel LaRusso wanted to learn how to punch. And what did Miyagi say? No, I'm not going to do a Miyagi impression. First, learn balance. That's what he says. He says, you first have to learn how to balance before you can punch. And I think that can be, we could probably apply all of the lessons from the Karate Kid to our daily lives right. on a regular basis. I mean, that movie is just a treasure trove of
lessons.
Life lessons.
Yeah.
Don't get in a fight with a bunch of karate experts who are dressed as skeletons, because you're going to get your ass kicked.
That's a very important life lesson, because that's happened to me too many times.
Yeah, I know. There's a whole band of skeletons roaming around in Pittsburgh right now, looking for someone to whoop up on. But you bring up a good point before we started recording here, the balance that we all strive for. But is that something that we all strive for, or is there different definitions? Because you think it's a simple thing. Oh, I want balance, but what is balance? It could be different to other people. What they consider balanced might be all out of whack for me or for you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I guess, I think the thing about it is I think I change it with the word peace, because I see it as internal, whereas balance, I think we look externally, how are things looking out here? And I need to balance the scales out here. But what we're really after is, when we say we want balance, is that peaceful feeling right inside. And so I think it helps to kind of shift that inward and being okay, it's creating that peacefulness, balanced feeling in here first, so that we're not trying to just contort what's out here in order to feel balanced in here.
Yeah, because if you look at it the other way, then you're constantly trying to manipulate all these different things to achieve this perception of
balance.
Balance. I like that. I like calling it peaceful, just like the Eagle song, a peaceful, easy feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I get that when I least expect it, where I'm just doing something, minding my own business, whatever. I'm in a completing some sort of task or whatever, and I get that feeling of peace. I'm cool in this moment. I like everything where it's at. I like what's going on. I had that the other day when I was walking my dog. I was like, I am so at peace right now. And I was walking too.
Right.
I was walking.
Right. Exactly. Even in crisis situations, you can have this really calm, peaceful feeling, inside, despite all this chaos going on the outside. So I think it's like remembering to kind of come in and seek that peace within first, versus giving your power away and being like, well, it needs to look XYZ on the outside in order for me to feel that peaceful feeling on the inside. Because that's not how it works. So I've really been kind of setting my day more recently around like really creating that space within first and kind of seeing where the day takes me from there.
Well, what does that process look like for you? Like, how do you do that?
Me?
Yeah, just for you.
So I started doing A Course in Miracles, probably March, April.
Wait, you can take a course in how to perform miracles? Holy shit. Where do I sign up? I've got a whole laundry list of miracles I need to accomplish. Sorry.
Right.
I had to jump on that.
No, of course. So I've been doing these little lessons. I'm supposed to do them every morning, just about every morning for the most part. And that has been really helpful to set my energy. And it talks about those things, and kind of, seeking that peace. It's spiritual, so it uses the words God or Christ or divine or whatever. But so it's like getting in right relationship there, and then that's all I kind of this idea of that's all I actually need to do, because everything flows from that. So that's what I've been doing personally, and I've found it really helpful. But there's a lot of things you can do. You don't have to do A Course in Miracles. That's probably a bit on the extreme end of things to do, which I'm aware. So, yeah.
It's interesting that I don't think of this piece that we're talking about. I can't think of any kind of a strategy or like a process that I would have to. I feel for me, it always feels like it has to just appear. It has to just be like, hey, peace is here. Oh, hey, peace. What's up?
Yep.
As opposed to, all right, I'm going to try to generate peace in my moment.
Because peace is already, you are that already, right? And so it's back to that word allowing that, I love. So it's more of like recognizing and allowing that which already exists. That's what's already there. And that which is already the only important thing, right? So if we put all our problems and issues and so forth as like the focus of what's important instead of that peace, then we're kind of doing everything backwards. So I guess that's what I mean by really like focusing and setting the day from there is more of like recognizing that, like resetting that as that top priority, right? So that my mind is like attuned to that, for the day, like dialed in. And then it's like allowing and knowing, oh, that's already there. I don't need to fixate on this problem. I can, come back to that peace within. And I guess that's the practice. And so doing the course helps me to engage in that practice. But yeah, it's not like, like I'm going to light this candle and say this prayer and do this, right? It's not like a ritualistic thing, that I do.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what a lot of people want. That like that answer,
a prescription, right?
Yeah, like a prescription to peace. Well, you follow these steps, and you'll get there. And I like to try to remember that feeling of the peace, like the one when I was walking and I was thinking, it was just a lovely day. I was walking my dog, listening to an audiobook, and everything was just perfect. And so when things are going haywire, I just try to remember that feeling.
Yep.
That's perfect. So, and it's not it's not like a false application of like, it's just tapping into what that feeling was to help center myself and to help me feel a little bit better in the moment. Like, I've had a crazy day today. Lots going on, sick people running back and forth to the store to get things and whatnot. And, so taking that time to kind of recall that moment where I felt that peace is, something I have to do. And it's like my phone is blowing up and I don't know.
One of those days.
Yeah, it just totally is. But I'm grateful for it. It just means that we're busy. We got a lot going on.
Right.
There's stuff to juggle.
That's what you've been asking for.
What I've been asking for, so I'm not complaining. I mean, I would prefer that, I didn't have sick people in the family, right? But other than that, I guess it's okay. So if you're talking about, instead of talking about balance, you're talking about peace.
Yeah.
It still brings me to the question of what would balance be? Because people still use that word. They still look for that, the work-life balance. It's a term that everybody throws around, and it's like, what exactly is that? Because it's different for everybody. What is it for you?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, so I don't like to live my everyday the exact same. I like to have different sorts of mornings. Some mornings where I'm like getting up and exercising right away. Some mornings where I'm just getting up and reading right away. Some mornings where I'm up and doing mom things right away. Different mornings, I actually like to be a bit different, and my afternoon's different, and my evening's different. So I think sometimes when we get focused on this balance, we get really set on like a constant routine that needs to look the same every day. And that can work for some people. So that might be what the balance looks like for them. But I think for me to feel balanced, I like to have a variety in what that looks like, because I think they offer their own unique benefits to the day that I can't. But I guess I feel like I'd be giving up something if I didn't have that variety. So for me, I guess a balance is having that variety of what my days look like.
That's interesting, because it's not like it's not a typical.
No, it's not.
But I'm a big fan of a certain amount of routine. Certain routines are comforting to me because I know like this is what's going to be. But I also am similar in you. Like I like coming into work every day because it's not, no 2 days are really ever the same here. Right. There's always different things happening. And so having that variety is really special.
Fun. Yeah.
And it keeps that, it keeps it, it just keeps it exciting, so that, because if you get into a routine and then suddenly the routine, and you get used to that routine, and then the routine is changed for some reason, whether for bad or for good, it could throw you off, and you're like, oh, now I'm all out of whack because my routine is messed up. Like,
right.
I remember growing up, and my grandmother and my uncle lived with us, and they were like so set on their routines. Like you could set your clock by like, oh, at this time they're going to be sitting there having their coffee, and it's going to be a little piece of toast. And it's like everything is predictable all day, every day. You know exact. And if something were to change, you'd be like, oh, we got to do this, and it's like, I can't. Well,
can't do that.
I have to have my toast and my coffee before we, and that just. So it's like there's a caution, when you get too set in your routines, that you got to leave a little room for
flexibility.
For flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I've kind of built that flexibility in, Yeah. Like a day, if I get up and have a session with a client at 7 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to do that every morning.
Right.
B, on the days that I do, that sets a whole different energy tone for the day, which I enjoy, right? But that's different from a day that I get up and go to the gym at 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever, right? Or different from a day that I sit and read at 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is. So, yeah, I like that variety. And I guess that brings a sense of peace and balance in my system. So yeah, but it's discovering you, and I think allowing for discovering what you enjoy and what works for you. And because you're right, it does look different for everybody.
Yeah, and it changed. Like for me, it changes. I could be doing something at work that, like if we're making some improvements and we're working on, creating something really cool, I'm like, I want to do more of that. Mm-hmm. And well, it's time to go home. I got stuff to do, but I kind of want to stay at work.
Yeah.
Which is not typical either. Most people, it's like, quitting time to go.
Right.
But I'm like, well, I can finish this and then still get home at a reasonable time. And then while I'm home, I'm thinking about stuff here. And I know some people complain about that, but it actually makes me happy because I'm like, oh, I've got all this stuff that we're working on. And then tomorrow I can jump back in and do it again. And,
right.
And so it's like a weird, and I guess for me, there's like this melding of a work-life balance because it is, and it could be the same for you too. Cause when it's your own business, there's that joining of your family life and the business life, and they kind of, morph
together. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why I enjoy coaching with entrepreneurs specifically, because there is that different kind of soup versus going to work, doing your duties, leaving at a certain time, like you're saying, where it's more separated. But when you're a creative or your work is your passion, when you're self-employed and things like that, the energy is different. It's not. So I think that there's a lot of advice on there that is geared towards maybe if you're not engaged in your creative genius and life passion and so forth, that is like, okay, make sure you leave work at a certain time or whatever. And I understand where that advice comes from. But if you're not in that camp, then that advice, it might not be very helpful, right? Whereas like you got a creative, flow going, you're going to use that, right? I don't know any creative that's like, all right, I'm going to stop right now. When they're in a flow, they you just don't. So I think when your work is that, you kind of need to learn how to ride those waves and be more flexible, because you can't quite schedule creativity, although I can make an argue point.
You can try
as well.
That's been my experience, is that with my creativity, it doesn't always, it's not like at my beck and call, it's like I have to come up with something and I'm at a loss. Just like before we started, you were like, maybe I should have worked out before this, because for you in the past, when you exercise, you find yourself more creative afterwards. Yeah. You get your blood going and all that kind of stuff. And I have a similar thing too. Where if I exercise in the morning, there's a whole lot more that I'm raring to go to do in, right after that. And, I just wish I could not be so lazy and actually, I got into this routine where I get up, I let the dog out, I get the coffee, I sit on my couch, and she comes and jumps up on my lap, and I'm like, just enjoying loving on the dog. Yeah. And I'm like, I really should probably take her for a walk and, get that blood pumping. But I now choose to do that after work. The weather's just been so nice. So taking
especially
taking a walk at 6:00 in the evening has just been perfect.
Yeah, it really has been. And again, that's where it's knowing yourself, so I kind of was like, I was going to work out, but then I was like, well, I'm really hungry, so I want to eat. And then it was like, well, I should wait a little bit. And then I was like, well, I've got we're doing this. So maybe I'll just write, do this, then work out. But then after spending 2 hours writing and not liking anything that I wrote for 2 hours, I'm like, whoops. Maybe that workout would have been better used earlier. But again, you live and learn, and you don't beat yourself up, and you just kind of go with it. And also trusting that even if I didn't come up with anything useful for writing for 2 hours, to not see that as a waste. Like, I'm still engaging in my writing. I'm still in my craft, right? And knowing, I'm sure that is still exercising my abilities in some way, somehow. Right. So I think it's also important to then not beat yourself up if the outcome isn't what you want it to be either.
Yeah, that was huge for me, is getting to the point where I'm not automatically beating myself up over stuff like that. You know, because that was always my go-to for a long time. So don't beat yourself up. Like, like, I'm not beating myself up for the fact that this is not actually live. We actually pre-recorded. So if you've been commenting, I thank you for the comments. We'll get to them afterwards, but we can't do them in real time. Got stuff going on, but I wanted to make sure that we had our conversation this week, because when I miss it, things aren't right. There I go with my routine. There's my routine. But
we were flexible with it.
But we were flexible with it, exactly. Stacey Steinmiller, radicallifecoach.com. She's crushing it, and she will crush you into your dreams. No, I was trying to make that work, but it just sounded painful. Rockbox.com for the stuff going on with us podcasting. It was a pretty cool week. We started the week off with having a voice talent come in and do some national PSAs for a really big organization, and we were connected to a studio in New York City, and it was really exciting. So that was a cool way to start off the week. But we will see you next week on Positively Powerful. Ciao, ciao. Dancing in the limelight, oh, you're on in the night. Look